Does this make sense to you? Because to me, it really doesn't. So today I'm going to be talking about video games as a whole, not just Nintendo. So let's just get into it. The topic I constantly saw on Twitter when we started the year is that people were super excited for GTA 6, which was finally coming out. But they were saying things like GTA 6 gotta save us, or GTA 6 is the last hope. When I see that, I get immediately confused because from my experience, video games are better now than ever before. I get to thinking about this topic and then I remember my childhood to see where this stems from.
Alright, sing and dance with Pablo. Take one.
Let's play. Let's play Pablo. Check.
This is me. When I was a kid, my first console and video game was the GameCube and Lego Star Wars. I had a great time with these games, and when it came time for me to get some new ones, I learned about other games based on things I really love, which introduced me to a completely different genre of game. Spider-Man 1 and 2 blew this kid's mind. This newfound magic that you experience in your childhood, being able to play with the characters you love and see on the big screen, is what made me into a gamer. It's part of the reason why I wasn't really into Mario as much, but instantly connected with Pokemon, which I was finally able to play because I had borrowed a family member's Game Boy for many years. Yeah, I was a pretty bad kid. But anyways, you might be wondering, how does this relate to video games falling off? Don't worry, I'm gonna get to that. This is me a couple years later when I got a Wii. The Xbox 360 and PS3 also came out around this time. I didn't have too many friends at school and I was an only child, so up to this point all the games I played were by myself until I discovered a certain game on my cousin's Xbox. Halo 3 introduced me to online multiplayer, and you know that magic I had playing games on my GameCube for the first time? It's back and I became completely immersed. This gave me the opportunity to be social and play games, something that completely evaded me as a child till then. Yeah, I was one of those annoying squeakers that used to be in your lobbies. Fun fact though, the RS in my name actually stands for Red Sniper, which was my favorite color and gun in Halo 3. At this point, I learned and played almost every type of game, and I knew what I liked, but then middle school came around, and because I was a certified nerd who did nothing but play games after school, I was judged for what I played. It didn't make sense to me because they all played games as well. Wait a minute, can you rewind that real quick? It didn't make sense to me because they all played games as well. What games did they play? Games like Call of Duty, sports games, and GTA 5, which almost everyone played at the time, but why are you interrupting yourself? Never mind that. I think we just answered our own question. Let's fast forward to 2019. At this point, people know me for doing YouTube and Nintendo lines, but I was 17 and starting to get bills to pay, and YouTube was not paying me that much. So I got a job that entails me playing sports with a lot of kids. The issue is I didn't keep up with sports, nor did I play any. So I forced myself to enjoy sports regularly, starting with basketball. What better way than to start with a recently made game that was on sale for $3 called NBA 2K19. This isn't my first sports game though, as I played a lot of FIFA back when it was in its prime, and a lot of wrestling games if you want to count those. I barely knew what I was doing, but I was having fun. This is also similar to how I felt when I was younger, because as I was starting to learn the players in real life, I was playing them in the game to play how I wanted them to play, which was even more fun. This carried on to next year during COVID, where 2K20 became my most played game that year, beating out Persona 5 Royal, which, by the way, is an over 100-hour game. This game got me hooked onto basketball, but then I completely changed. COVID really impacted the way I played games because I was so socially deprived, I stopped playing single-player games as much, and started playing exclusively multiplayer games. I would do nothing but be on Discord all day talking to friends, or on my Xbox playing 2K, Apex, Overwatch, Fortnite, you name it. And my gaming library kept getting smaller and smaller. But one thing I also noticed is that new games and ongoing games got worse and worse. No other 2K game was better than 2K20 to me. Overwatch constantly got worse, Apex became boring, so I was down to literally just Fortnite, which I consistently enjoyed. I kept playing single player games during this time as well, but just not as often as I used to. But then I ended up in the same boat that people are in now, which was just thinking video games got worse. I became the average gamer and I saw directly why the people that I grew up with dislike games now. I knew video games didn't fall off. I just couldn't find dopamine in playing the games I would usually play by myself. But to those who only know those games, they probably think the form of entertainment as a whole is trash. So that's my answer, and honestly I think I hit the nail on the head with this one. Until I asked my friends and you guys what your thoughts were. I made a poll on Twitter, and this time I asked the question of this video. Most people said no, which I'm not too surprised about, and there's also people that had the same answer I did as well, like Weeb Baptism, who gave a pretty funny analogy saying, if you eat Wendy's every day, you'll eventually get tired of Wendy's. If you switch it up, try something local, or cook at home, you'll have way more variety than just the Baconator. I did another poll because I wanted to be completely sure that my answer was the right one, but then I was met with some conflicting opinions. This didn't make sense to me at all. It feels completely contradictory to the previous poll. I had to outsource, and I did by talking to my good friend Mofoyu. She made a good point to me saying, I think games now and games back in the day have different charms. I've been playing through Dark Souls recently and I'm like, I get why diehard Dark Souls fans don't like Elden Ring. But then I think Elden Ring is fun in its own way. I think modern games kinda suck in the way that they're too afraid to be clunky. Everything is like smooth UI and gameplay, you know what I mean? That's why stuff is a lot more cinematic. It feels a lot more like eye candy and flashiness, which I like, but I do like the janky stuff you could do with the old games.
I truly believe that there's something for everyone, no matter what you grew up with. The generalization saying it fell off doesn't seem valid at all. You just have to keep looking to create more memories. As everyone knows at this point, I will be on the Switch 2 line this week, and I have a ton of content planned for the month of June. So subscribe if you haven't. Bye!
But why don't you do the Crazy Car song?